What's happening, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the Motivation Theory podcast. This podcast, guys, our mission is to help you guys become the most confident version of yourself. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about what I learned from my first client who lost over 80 kilos.
And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need.
Guys, the first thing that I learned is I can't help everyone, no matter how hard I try. We can't always help everyone that walks in the door. Big thing here, guys, is like you have to be ready for that change. You have to be ready for that point in your life to actually make the changes that's required to see that sort of transformation, especially if it's 80 kilos as well. The first client that I had, so he basically came in to see me for about 4 or 5 months in that. At that point, he was just kind of trying to getting away with what he could get away with. So that first 4 or 5 months, we lost about 10, 15 kilos or so, but didn't see the full transformation he was after. He actually then went on to have about 8, 9 months off from seeing me. And over that time there, something kind of shifted with him. He had a few personal things that went on in his life over that period, but he came back in the right headspace that was required to see that sort of change and really take it to the next level, just because he knew how much better his life would be if he was able to commit to it, to what he needed to commit to. Number 2, guys, is definitely I learned what motivation is. So I learned how to motivate someone for a very long period of time. So motivation as well, we always get this question. People are like, how do I, I'm lacking motivation. How do I get more motivation to get into the gym, to eat healthier? Where's that come from? Big thing with motivation, so basically starting off with, motivation is very short-lived, okay? We can't rely on that forever. First thing that gets you in the door to start with motivation is your why, having a strong reason to make a change, having a strong reason, like an inner reason as well, to actually commit to something like this. Like for myself as well, the reason why I train 5-6 times obviously a week and that as well, very consistently, is because it's tied to my identity, it's tied to my confidence, it's tied to me feeling really good about myself. It's definitely a primer for myself. Because I have that strong reason, it's very easy to get into the gym. As a kid, I wasn't very confident as a kid, so it wasn't until I started working out did I start feeling better about myself. So definitely, of course, I'm going to work out 5-6 days a week because it empowers me. It makes me feel very, very good. So knowing your why is the first step for motivation. The second thing is definitely accountability. You will always do more for basically someone else than you would yourself in that. So having someone keep you accountable does push you into that sort of next level of motivation. The third level of motivation is success. So when you have little wins, when you have success, it breeds more and more motivation, which gets you to that next level as well, okay? But lastly, guys, like motivation isn't going to stick around. This is what I learned from him as well, is at the end of the day, you have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy the nutrition, the training, it's very much short-lived. So we have to find out for yourself, how are you going to enjoy your training sessions? How are you going to enjoy your nutrition? You should be loving like your breakfast. You should be loving your dinner. You should definitely be loving it, because if you love it, it's lifelong. If it's not something that you love, it's very much short-lived, okay? This is why with our gym, we're a strength gym, because I much prefer strength training. I like building muscle. I like lifting heavy weights and that. So we were a HIIT-based studio 2 years ago and that as well, and it really didn't sit well with us. It wasn't something that myself and Crystal really enjoyed ourselves in that. So we kind of had to look at ourselves and just realize, why are we giving this to our clients if we don't enjoy it ourselves? And I kind of realized the clients that came through for the HIIT sort of style of things very much punishing themselves for what they did on the weekend, which isn't a good way to look at exercise, okay? We should absolutely love it. We should look forward to it. And me and Krista always say it's our favorite hour of the day. Absolutely in love with working out. So definitely, guys, so motivation comes from your why, it comes from accountability, it comes from success, but at the end of the day, it comes from, are we actually enjoying it, okay? If we don't enjoy it, it's gonna be very short-lived. The third thing I learned from him over his journey as well was we have to focus on progress versus perfection, okay? We get a lot of people in the door that say they're very much an all or nothing person. This is an identity trait that does not serve us very well at all. The clients that I've had come in the door that have said they're very much all or nothing are very, very much short-lived clients, just because they have too much expectation that is definitely way too hard to meet. We always change that. So the first thing we do when these sorts of clients get in the door is we change it to progress over perfection, okay? Even if that means we're losing 300 grams a week, that over time, that over 6 months is going to be massive. It's going to be an absolute drastic change to their life. So always after progress over perfection, because perfection is definitely not something that's sustainable. It's not something that we really want you to strive for as well. Very short-lived. Number 4, the fourth thing I learned from him was you have to shift your identity, okay? You have to shift who you are and who you say you are. Big thing with him was he basically would always say, so big thing with Corey, he would always say that he was essentially big boned. His family had always been very overweight. So him saying that basically confirmed to him and his beliefs in that as well, that it wasn't possible for him. If you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to actually make that sort of leap and basically make that sort of jump to the changes that's required to actually make the shift as well. So we have to make sure day one, you guys believe that you can actually do this. You guys actually believe in the program, so the vehicle of change, which is us. And you guys also believe in yourself, okay? You believe that you can actually do this transformation, this change. Easiest way for us to basically prove that to you is someone that's very similar to yourself. We'll show you obviously other members that have made an incredible change in that as well. That was once where you started, okay? Very, very easy way to shift that mental state is to see it from someone else. So definitely the identity shift has to change. We get a lot of people in the gym that say, oh, I'm not a gym person, oh, I hate the gyms. When they come in and they say that story to themselves as well, they're gonna fail, okay? If you kind of go into the gym and you're like, I hate the gym, it's absolutely the worst, it's a massive chore for my day and that. If you have that story, it's once again very much short-lived, it's not sustainable, it's not something that you enjoy, so you're going to quit, okay? Big thing that I tell you guys as well, when you stop, you go backwards, you go back to where you were before. So you have to find a path that's actually sustainable, that's realistic for you for long term, an actual lifestyle, and that's exactly what we're after, helping you guys find. I always say as well, guys, so I never ask the question to a client, what can you do for 6 weeks? It's always, what can you do for life? And that lets us know where your standards should be. If it's twice a week, it's twice a week in the gym. That's what we really want to know. What can you do for life versus what can you do for a short period of time? The fifth thing that I learned from him, guys, was high accountability, okay? Someone that wants to lose 50, 60, 70, 80 kilos, the training sessions are going to be, obviously, it's going to help, but that's not where it ends right there. You definitely have to have a high accountability, so you have to have a coach that checks in with you daily, a coach that checks in with you and does your measurements weekly and just goes the next mile to make sure that you're going to see that change. Because someone that's obviously 50, 60 kilos overweight and that as well, they have very much a starting baseline for where they're at right now. Their habits are not formed. They've got a lot of negative mindset traits as well as stories, as well as just day-to-day habits that are pulling them away from their goals. So you really have to be there for that person to make that change, and just understand it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be something that you change with them over months and months of work, because they've put that 50, 60, 70, 80 kilos on in the last 10, 15, 20 years. So we're basically retraining these habits that have caused that within basically 6 to 12 months. So I always say to someone that wants to lose 30, 40 kilos, realistically looking, you want to spend a good 12 months on this to actually lose it for life versus lose it for a very short period of time. Number 6, guys, so coming back to this as well, number 6, what I learned from Corey as well was if you stop, you lose it, okay? He stopped with me for a while after like the 4 months and that, and basically put more weight on than we started, so we had a lot more to go through there. Coming back was definitely more so the question of like, okay, what can we do now that you can carry on for life? What can we do now? What can we implement in terms of what habits, what sort of training roster, what sort of nutrition plan, nutrition pathway can we do for life? Never saying the word diet, because diet is very much in our mindset something that's short-lived. We're always looking at what can you do for your lifestyle, for your nutrition, what can you do every single day, and what's enjoyable back to that as well. These are the 6 things, guys, I've learned from Corey, and basically losing that 80 kilos with him. Definitely knowing this now, like we've been able to help so many more people along the journey as well, lose numbers like 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 kilos. It gets easier every time we go through it because we understand exactly what beliefs we need that client to have to move forward and make that shift. If this video helped you guys, please give us a like, give us a share, subscribe in that as well. And we look forward to seeing you next week for our next Motivation Theory podcast. All right, bye guys, bye.